Hello, this is Dias and a new author's story from my channel Russian Revenge Story. Stepan had no intention of staying in the village at all, as he had come for an indefinite leave after a divorce from his wife. He caught his beloved wife in the arms of his own friend. The decision was made instantly. He didn't even hit them in the face. He simply threw his friend, now former, out the door and told his wife, "I'm going to the village for a month. Be so kind as to take everything you own from my apartment. I hope we don't have any disagreements. Otherwise, I'll make you famous throughout the city." His wife worked in the administration and at that very moment was going to become a deputy. Of course, she told him that she would wipe him off the face of the earth, but Stepan only smiled coldly. "You don't have the guts, my dear." And they both knew that she really did have the guts. Her job was just a fluke. She just happened to get busy somewhere at the right time. He quickly packed his things, for some reason wrote a resignation letter at work and not a vacation. He probably wanted to change everything in his life completely, and early in the morning he rushed to the village where his grandfather used to live in his car. Stepan had always been very close to his grandfather. When he was little, he often spent the summer with his grandmother and grandfather. Then he grew up, his grandmother passed away, but he continued to visit his grandfather. Then, when he started studying at the institute, he couldn't come as often as he would have liked. Stepan tried to take his grandfather to the city several times, but where their grandfather passed away when Stepan was already married. He stopped at the house and smiled contentedly. No, it's not for nothing that he brings gifts to his neighbor Kolka. A rubber boat, a new separator. The house doesn't look abandoned, the grass is mown, the fence is straight. Well done, man. This time Stepan brought him an expensive spinning rod. He knew that Kolka was an avid fisherman. He's afraid to even dream about such a thing. "Stayopa, is that you? How many years, how many winters?" Stepan smiled broadly. "Kolka, how glad I am to see you." They hugged and Nikolai looked into the car with interest. "What, are you staying for the whole summer?" "Well, for a month for now, and then we'll see." "Wow. Well, this is something to celebrate. Look, you get ready and come to us in the evening. I'll light up the bathhouse now. We'll fry some meat. Do you remember what kind of bathhouse I have?" Stepan's jaw even tightened. "How can you forget your bathhouse? You're reborn there." Nikolai headed towards the house, and Stepan called out to him, "Kolya, wait." He turned around. "Kolya, I brought you a small present. Thank you for looking after the house." Kolka waved his hand. "Oh, come on, it's not hard for me, and I feel uncomfortable because of your gifts. They're dear, aren't they? So you don't need the spinning rod anymore?" Stepan took out a new fancy gift with a smile. Kolya swallowed. It's exactly him, Kolya. You wanted it. I chose it for you." Kolka almost cried. He took him in his arms with such care, like a child in his arms. "Stiop, I don't even know what to say. Thank you, and I'll be waiting for you in the evening." Kolya left, and Stepan began unloading his things. His mood noticeably improved. It was so nice that at least someone was able to please. About an hour later, Nikolai's wife arrived. "Hello, Stepan." "Hi, Nin. I brought you a snack here. You'll clean up while you're here, there's no time to cook." Stepan was about to make excuses, like it was awkward, but his stomach rumbled loudly. Nina laughed. "Well, that's the answer. Eat to your heart's content." She had already grabbed the door handle, but turned to him. "Stepan, thank you for Kolka. He's so eager, so happy. The men are drinking in the field, and he's fishing. The men are drinking in the workshops, and he's here. It's like you're showing him a different life. He started drinking after the collective farm fell apart. And then you. Stepan knew that Kolya worked as a mechanic on the farm. He loved iron things, felt sorry for women. He told him all this himself, and when the farm fell apart, there was nowhere to work in the village. It's good that he managed to assemble his own small tractor. So now, sometimes he can plow, sometimes take and bring, at least some penny. Nina doesn't have to carry the family alone. What are you talking about, Nin? Kolya and I have known each other since childhood. Don't talk nonsense. Nina smiled. Get ready, Stepan. My husband has some new brooms prepared. He made them especially for you. Went to the forest. Stepan howled ostentatiously. Nin, tell me where to hide. Nina laughed. I think he'll find you anywhere. Nikolai's bathhouse was such that it felt like your skin was bursting, and the brooms, it felt like you were steaming in the forest. Well, after the bathhouse, of course, you feel like a different person. After the bathhouse, when Stepan was sitting in a half-fainting state in Kolya's yard, sipping tea and hearing what a huge fish Kolka had caught, the gate creaked. A young woman entered the yard. Stepan was speechless. She was so beautiful. He asked Kolya in a whisper, Who is this? He also answered in a whisper, This is Olesya. She also worked on a local farm, and now she is alone without work with a child. And where is your husband? My husband ran away for a better life. Don't look at me like that. Olesya is serious. She doesn't have affairs with men. And anyway, it seems to me that after her marriage she hates our sex. She and Ninka are close friends. Nina tries to help her, but Oleska is proud. She rarely takes anything. It's somehow sad. Of course it's sad. Oleska was the best milkmaid, but she was not from here, she was coming. So, her cows were always the cleanest, they gave the most milk. And by education she was a teacher, I think. So why did you come to the village? Oh, there is such a murky story. Ninka knows something, but also without details. This husband of hers, well, who ran away later, he played cards, and at one point got into so much debt that they were asked to leave the apartment. Nina said that they moved to his mother's house, but the mother-in-law ate Oleska so much that she bought a house from us and ran away. True, the mother sent her son to her, apparently so that he would not be an eyesore. But as soon as Olesya collected money for repairs to the house, he stole everything and disappeared. So she went to the police for a divorce, but there they only threw up their hands. They say he is a legal husband, did not break into anything. He just took the common property, family, so to speak. While they were not talking, Olesya left, came back to them. Nin, what's up with Oleska? The kid's sick, and she doesn't have any fever-reducing pills. I see, because our Stepan couldn't take his eyes off her. Nina smiled. No, it's useless with Olesya. You have to do some kind of super deed for her to even pay attention. Stepan smiled too. What? Does that mean I'm not capable of super deeds? Kolya, what kind of building did I see at the beginning of the village? Oh, they started building new workshops some time ago. Then everything fell apart, so they abandoned them. Do you think you can make a farm out of them? Kolya and Nina exchanged glances. Nikolai leaned forward. Well, of course, you'll have to tinker with it, but it's entirely possible. Stepan, what are you thinking of? Yes, I have an idea. If you agree to help me, I think that Nikolai and I will have a good business. Nina smiled somewhat confusedly. Are you really thinking of opening a farm? Take it even higher. A farm. I'll sit here tonight, think, calculate, and tomorrow I'll tell you everything. And now I'll sleep for a couple of hours. 4 years have passed since that conversation. The farm that Stepan finally opened included more than just a farm, or rather, at first it was just a farm, then a milk processing plant, then a meat plant, and now Stepan was thinking about opening a couple of his own stores in the city, because he no longer wanted to sell his products for a throwaway price. Nikolai was his right hand, and was responsible for all the mechanization. 2 people worked under him, who carried out all his orders. Kolka, however, was not arrogant, and not long ago Stepan saw several books on electricity and some other specialized ones. Kolya, embarrassed, said that he wanted to study by correspondence because he was some kind of boss, but he had no education. In general, everything was even better than Stepan could have imagined, if not for one thing. It was Olesya. She simply tormented him. He won her over, they met, though not as often as he would have liked, because both he and she had enough work. Stepan was even ready to propose to her, and then she answered, "I'll think about it, don't rush." He even started hiccuping with indignation. Will he think about it? Maybe 4 years is too short a term? Should he walk hand in hand for another 10 years? Today Stepan was going to have another serious talk with Olesya. She's been kind of thoughtful lately. What's wrong? Stepan has a great relationship with Maxim, her son. He stopped in front of the farm and immediately saw the cat. Fury rose in him. I'm so sick of these cats, like some kind of scourge. There is a summer cottage village nearby, and everyone thinks that in the fall you can throw animals here, but they are nothing but unsanitary. In addition, the milkmaids feeding them have created a real garbage dump around the corner. Stepan simply talked for a long time about them stopping feeding them. In the end, when one cat fell into a vat of excellent milk, which he naturally could not use, he flew into a rage. Everyone got it, including Olesya. Stepan said, "If there is at least one cat on the farm in a week, I will call the catcher." The women looked at him discontentedly, and Olesya asked, "Where will they go? Die of hunger?" "I don't know where they will go, but because of them, everything here is topsy-turvy." Oddly enough, there were fewer cats, and then they completely disappeared. And now there's a new one. Stepan was about to get out of the car when he noticed Olesya in the distance. She was in a hurry, not here but somewhere else, and she walked carefully, looking around, as if she didn't want to be noticed. Stepan clenched his teeth, and immediately before his eyes there appeared a picture of him coming home and his wife in bed with his friend, although Olesya was not like that. Stepan smiled sadly, but he was sure that his wife was not like that either. He jumped out of the car and followed Olesya. They were separated by bushes and twilight. Different images formed in his head, how her ex-husband came back to her. For example, they were looking for him, and Olesya was hiding him because she loved him. And then Stepan shook his head. Olesya had disappeared into an abandoned farm. Only one thought remained, just like her husband, just hiding, and she was running to him. Such anger, such resentment arose in him that he jumped up from the bushes and almost ran to the abandoned farm. He pulled the gate with all his might and burst inside. Olesya was sitting on a bale of hay. She was putting food into bowls, and there was a real crowd of cats around her. He was confused and froze. The woman turned around in surprise and immediately frowned. "Stepan, what are you doing here?" I saw you come in here, and so I decided." Olesya stood up. "So you thought about it and ran to expose me?" Stepan lowered his head. What could he say in his defense? Olesya was not one of those people who could be easily fooled. They stood opposite each other and were silent. Finally, Stepan could not stand it and began first. "I thought you had taken them somewhere." Olesya shook her bangs. "And where, I wonder?" "I didn't think you were like that. To treat defenseless, abandoned animals like that. Do you really think I would call the capture department? It's just that you and your kindness have created such a mess on the farm. You are a smart woman. You understand what your salary consists of." Olesya sighed with relief. "Yes, I know. I just don't know what to do. But they will die of hunger." Stepan suddenly smiled. "Let's set up something like a shelter in this building. Kolka will help, the farm will help with the food, and they will write on social networks. Maybe we will find a family for many." Olesya looked at him in surprise. "You're not kidding?" "No, why not?" 2 months later, the first shaggy beauties went to live in new homes. Olesya, who no longer worked as a milkmaid but ran a new shelter, was happy for them as if they were children, and a month later she finally agreed to become his wife. And what was happening to Stepan simply cannot be described in words. The gifts of fate did not end there. On their wedding day, Olesya, who was 36 at the time, sheepishly said that she would give him an unusual gift for his 40th birthday. Stepan wondered for a long time what kind, then begged, "Well, tell me, I don't need gifts. I have everything, but you have so much mystery." Olesya handed him a photo of a little person who was already inside her. Stepan cried, hugged Olesya, Nina, Kolya, Maxim, kissed the cats, and hugged all the guests again. And Olesya looked at him and thought that perhaps a person could be happy even if he no longer believed in this very happiness. If you liked the story, please support me with a like. And to learn about the release of new, interesting stories, subscribe to my channel. All the best to you. Thank you for watching.